and the other security services. And then we have 16 contingents from primary and secondary schools, as well as other identifiable groups. So immediately Mr. President arrives, he will inspect the contingent and then light the perpetual flame, after which the military personnel and the other security personnel will march off to afford the opportunity for the school children to march past.
And it will be significant to let our audience know the significance of the Perpetual Flame, what it stands for, and how it even started, perhaps, if we have that information.
Well, as the name depicts, Perpetual Flame, it is meant to ignite in us the spirit of patriotism, nationalism, anything that we can do as a people to make sure that our country moves forward. That is what that Perpetual Flame stands for. And so as a people, if in the past we have been doing well, then we need to continue. If what we have done in the past is nothing to write home about, then there is time for us to change and move forward with the spirit of patriotism.
All right. So the name Ghana came into being 63 years ago, but really, what does Ghana stand for? There are several versions as to how the name Ghana came about. Selika will be feeding us that information subsequently, but this is the arrival of this is the president of the prime minister. Exactly, the prime minister of the Republic of Trinidad
and Tobago.
And you,
Honorable Dr. Christopher Keith Rowley is our special guest of honor at the 63rd Independence Day Parade. He has just arrived. Honorable Dr. Christopher Keith Rowley, MP.
And he arrived in the country last night. In the last few years, Ghana has always invited other heads of state to join us whenever we celebrate our independence, and I believe that that's a very good gesture to show Ghana's relationship with other countries. And in the last few years, Ghana's relationship with Trinidad and Tobago has increased significantly, and the trade activities between the two countries has also increased. Indeed, Ghana has been, and he will take the national salute also.
Please be seated.
That was the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago, and of course he is seen wearing
ladies and gentlemen, accompanying His Excellency Honorable Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, MP, is his spouse, Mrs. Sharon Clark Rowley. Let's show them some love, ladies and gentlemen.
We know that kente is a type of silk and cotton fabric made of interwoven cloth stripes made and the native to the Akan ethnic group of Ghana, is made in Akan lands such as the Ashanti Kingdom, including the towns of Bunri, Adamase, Sakurawono, and Intonsu, and in the Kwabwe areas of the Ashanti region. And globally, it is used in the design of the academic stole in graduation ceremonies. This is a fabric that the Ashanti region is proud to exhibit.
And ahead of the arrival of the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, who is the guest of honor for today's parade, Commander was very confident when we saw the vehicles from a distance that this wasn't the President of the Republic of Ghana. And I'm like, okay, so the military people always know what is going to happen even before it happens. How did you know that?
Through rehearsals. When you rehearse, you know what is going to happen before it even happens. And so I know that Mr. President will be escorted by the police mounted squadron. And the mounted squadron was formed in 1940 with 7 horses, and the core mandate of this unit is to provide ceremonial escort, then to the governors and now to our president. And so once I see the mounted squadron, I know the president has arrived.
Right, and so we are now awaiting the arrival of the president of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago and his spouse exchanging pleasantries with the Otumfuo as well as the Speaker of Ghana's Parliament. I see the Chief of Staff at the office of the President and other very high-profile government officials and traditional rulers as well. We are in commentary position, of course, with a researcher from the Manshare Palace, and he will be giving us some education. Yes, the Prime Minister and his wife.
Exactly, the Prime Minister and his wife Sarah Rowley arrived together, and together they have 4 children.
All right, and so we find that when the chiefs, particularly Asante, is seated in states like he is, that there are others often seated along with him. Who are these members of the party?
Well, usually he has his, if it were in the army, his lieutenants. So, and he doesn't walk alone. And that is one of the norm of chieftaincy. A chief does not walk alone. He has to get people around him.
And this is GBC's coverage of the 63rd Independence Anniversary Parade here at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi. And we are live on radio and also on TV. On radio, we are across 15 radio stations across the country. And we're also live on GTV and on GBC News, streaming live on Facebook. And as at an hour ago, we had 5,000 persons watching on Facebook. I'm sure the number would have increased by now, 5,000 and plus. So do join, don't be left out of this coverage, Commander.
Thank you. And that is the parade commander in our shots. I just wish to quickly add that the parade sergeant major, that's a regimental sergeant major, is in the person of Senior Warrant Officer Kukubo Anthony. He is also the base warrant officer for the Air Force Base, Accra. And it's a very, very important appointment as far as parades are concerned. The RSMs are the custodians of parades, and so it's important that we acknowledge him.
That's right. Again, for those who just joined us, we have received almost every invited guest here, and Selikem has a list of those who have been invited. Of course, we've seen the arrival of the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. We've seen the arrival of the Asante Hene. We've also seen and witnessed the arrival of the Chief of Staff as well as the Speaker of Parliament.
And the Chief Justice as well, Justice Kwesi Enin-Ieboa also has arrived.
He arrived not too long ago. On
the Speaker of Parliament himself has also arrived, Honorable Professor Michael
see the
Quay
Minister of the Interior right there, adorned in his smock, other ministers of state. We saw her there a while ago, the minister in charge of public procurement,
Yes,
Adwoa Safo, was there a while ago as well, in the company of other ministers and deputy ministers of state.
Yes, and a little bit about the stadium in which we are, the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. It's a multi-purpose stadium in Kumasi. It's Ghana's largest stadium with a seating capacity of over 40,000, and it is home of one of Africa's most popular sports club, the Asante Kotoko, as well as King Faisal. And here, it's exciting to be here this morning. It was inaugurated as a football pitch also in 1959.
And this stadium brings back nostalgic memories to me. This was a stadium that the Amas, the real Amas, won many of the trophies it has won in sports. And it's significant to also mention that the parade commander is an old student of the real Amas here in Kumasi.
And the parade adjutant as well. So you have two of them on parade this morning.
And one behind the cameras bringing the commentary.
Oh,
real Amas is dominating the parade in Kumasi today on the 63rd anniversary.
And let's talk about the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. It was renamed in 2005 in honor of Baba Yara. He is a Kumasi-born footballer. Baba Yara, he played for Asante Kotoko, also an international footballer. And his actual name is Osman Seidu, popularly known as the King of Wings, who hailed from Kintampo, played for the national team, and that was part of the team that won the African Cup of Nations in 1963. But unfortunately, at age 26, he suffered a spinal injury in a motor collision and never played again. But the government at the time, in 2005, honored him by renaming the sports stadium in his honor.
And I just did mention that we have thousands of people following this event on GBC's Facebook pages, the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. That's how you can get us on Facebook. The number has shot up by 2,000 more. And then people are making comments and asking questions. One of the questions running through what we are seeing on Facebook is that for you, Commander, to explain to us why it is that it appears to be only the military that engages in welcoming the dignitaries on all occasions, and not the fire service, the police service, or any of the other agencies. Why is it so?
Parades such as independence parades are actually military parades, and these parades are organized on special occasions such as our independence or to mark the victory of a battle we undertook. So primarily it is strictly a military parade, but because we want to get other persons involved to give it that national color, and so we are primarily still in charge. So you have the parade commander coming from either Army, Navy, or Air Force. Last year was Navy that commanded the parade. This year is Air Force. So definitely next year will be commanded by Army. So it is a military parade, basically.
And so the information out there is that these parades are for the military, and they then extend, so to speak, a hand of invitation to the other security agencies to come on board and help them. And that's why you find that most of the activities are actually handled by military officers and men. And we're told that there's a difference between officers and men.
Yes. The officers, let me say, okay, normally they wear their ranks on their shoulders, and then for the other ranks, normally they wear it either on the sleeve or on the wrist. That is the warrant officers, and the officers are the managers of the personnel. So the personnel are the other ranks or ratings or airmen and women. Yes, so the officers are the managers of the personnel. And so when you, for example, when you go to a battle, somebody must be in charge to tell you do this and do that and do that, and those are the officers. But sometimes when another rank is promoted to a very high level, he also can direct the younger men.
I just had to cut in there. The shots that was on the screen a while ago, about 5 seconds ago, was a beautiful scene, a scene of Kente. And wow, this is the scene I'm talking about. This is beautiful. And we're told that when you see people wearing Kente like they are doing now, they're not just wearing fashion, but they're also communicating. Teacher Kantanka, what sort of communication do you get from this very beautiful scene here?
Well, each Kente you see around has a name, meaning, and philosophy behind it, sometimes history behind it. So you must know which Kente you're talking about. Most of what we are seeing now are a jeans, so that is design upon design.
Wow,
design upon design communicates to us that we should build and keep building.
A beautiful scene of Kente wearers. And when we talk about Ghanaian traditional wear, this is it. It can be seen here at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi. It's a mixture of everything. You see students in their school uniforms, you see military personnel in their uniform, police personnel in their uniform, fire service, ambulance service, and all the other security agencies in their uniform, but you can also see the traditionally dressed people. Ghana is well represented here. This is diversity. I've seen a few smokes in there. I've seen Kente in there. I've seen people wearing agbada in there. But significantly is the fact that the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago is here, and he significantly is wearing the Kente. How symbolic is that to you, sir?
Well, Kente tells you that we are in a very happy mood. So we wear Kente only when you can't wear Kente to funeral. You can't wear Kente when you are in a very difficult situation. So seeing Kente is enough to tell you that we are in a very happy mood. We are in a situation where we all come together to embrace and share.
Right. Okay, so but we also know that, and again, I was talking about the smogs and the agbada. I've seen ministers of states right now in your shot, the Minister for Railway Development and the Minister for the Interior, all in your shots, and that's the diversity we were talking about. It doesn't matter where you come from in Ghana, whether north or south, east or west. Kwame Nkrumah once said, "We look neither east nor west, we look forward," and that is what is represented here today in this beautiful ceremony. Ashanti region in history is known for the weaving of beautiful Kente. In fact, there is that story from Bonre. These traditional oral histories appear to be dying off. What actually happened in Bonre, if you can tell us about that man who saw a spider weaving and then he took it from there?
Well, it is believed that two brothers called Krogu and Amiel were hunters and farmers at the same time, and on their farm they noticed a spider weaving its web. That was not the first time they saw a spider weave its web, but that attracted them that day. It attracted them so much that they felt they should understudy the spider and for a very long time and then imitate what the spider was doing. They came up with something that could be used to cover a human body. So they showed it to the chief at that time, who was called Obiansa at Bonre, who was also under the king of Ashanti. So he asked them, so prominent a work that he cannot keep it at Bonre, so they should follow him to the king of Ashanti, the first king of Ashanti, King Osetutu. So they showed it to him, and he made the two weavers his Kente chiefs. Then another time, somebody coming from Bonre also brought colors into the Kente. He was called
ministers of states, right there in beautiful Kente clothes. And I hope that from now on we will be seeing this in many offices and indeed even in Parliament that will begin to exhibit this there. But you were concluding on the story of the Bonre.
Otakrabai introduced colors into Kente. His sisters went to the coast and brought handkerchiefs that was multicolored. So he unveiled this handkerchief and used it to weave Kente and got multicolored Kente, which is called Yokoma. Yokoma because the two women were from the Oyoko clan. So it was named after that.
All right.
Then after that, one Osekufo introduced designs into the Kente weaving. So there are designs which have a lot of meaning and philosophy behind it. For example, they have a particular design called
we have the arrival of the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo became President of the Republic on the 7th of January in the year 2017, and this will be the fourth time as President. He is presiding over the Independence Day Parade on the 6th of March in the year 2020. And so the President has arrived. What are the next issues we expect to see, Commander?
So once he gets down, the parade commander will call the parade to attention and pay compliments. You remember I said earlier on that is a mark of paying respect to a dignitary. So they will pay the appropriate compliments, and definitely the national anthem will also be played. It is after that he would inspect the parade to have a closer view as to the personnel on parade, look at their turnout, and then move to the Perpetual flame stand where he will light the flame. So right after this, we should have the national anthem, and then the inspection will follow.
Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, has just arrived at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi, where he will be, indeed he is the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, and once the protocols are observed, he will proceed to inspect the parade as we wait for the President to arrive and to get off from his vehicle. What's the inspection of the Guard of Honor or the parade all about? How significant is it? What does it symbolize?
Well, it's very, very significant in the military. Whenever you have a parade, it must be inspected, because before you go on parade, you turn out very well. You make sure your uniform is ironed properly, your shoes are shining, and so inspections are a part of military parade. I've not seen any parade that has not got an inspection as part of it, and so being the national one, definitely Mr. President will have to go through, inspect the contingent on parade. He will not get down to check their uniform, but definitely it will give him a closer look as to what they are wearing and their turnout. And because everybody on parade knows that the President will come and inspect, we will all make sure we are in our best clothes, in our best uniforms, with our shoes and everything sparkling.
All right, so the President making his arrival to the stadium. We were earlier talking about this arrival, and that even from a distance you were able to tell us, oh no, that is not the President coming all the way from that, because you were looking out for certain signals, and then we see the signal here. He is in the company of military personnel riding horses.
These are police officers.
Okay.
This is the police mounted squadron, and the police mounted squadron was formed in 1940 with 7 horses, and their core mandate is to provide ceremonial escort to then governors and now to our president. The horses were also used for escorting the president. The horses being used today we have 21 horses in all, and it is under the command of Deputy Superintendent of Police Mary Clara Agamba. She is riding the horse named Step by Step. DSP Agamba is the first female police officer to head this unit and also to mount the horse for presidential ceremonies since the formation of the mounted squadron by the Ghana Police.
And overhead shot of the entire stadium, the 40,000 capacity stadium, the Baba Yara stadium, and beautiful scenes here as the president arrives. And so all these horses are trained in Ghana?
Yes, they are all trained in Ghana. And in fact, if you need a place to train, just come to Bema Camp, 3 Mounted Squadron. Everybody is allowed to come there to learn how to ride. And riding is a very good form of exercise. So I will encourage the general public to come to Bema Camp, 3 Mounted Squadron for horse riding if they are interested.
And there are also, you told us, the parades for the military, but here significantly playing a huge role
by the police. Exactly. You know, the president has just is now coming onto the stadium to be part of the parade, and we know that internal security is the responsibility of the police, and so once the president is coming, it's the duty of the police to provide that security for him. It is when the police are overwhelmed that the military comes in.
So at some point in time, are the police going to then hand over the president's security here to the military, because this is a military environment, so to speak?
Not at all. Here we have a joint security force in place. The police are here, the military is here, and other security organizations are also here. So it's a joint effort to protect the first gentleman of the land and other high-profile personality here.
The President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, stepping out of his vehicle, and there he is, adorned in white shirt. Last year in Tamale, he wore a white shirt with a beautiful design of the Ghana flag embossed on the left side of his chest. When our cameras pick him, we will be able to see for ourselves what, and so very similar to what he had done last year. Predominant are colors of Ghana, and then a design of the kente as well. And you were telling us about the kente colors and how beautiful and significant the messages these colors mean.
I was telling you a particular symbol within the kente, which is often used at the edge of the kente cloth, and this is called apremo. And this apremo.
All right, so we have the national salute right now.
National pledge. Up! I promise on my honor to be faithful and loyal to Ghana, my motherland. I pledge myself to the service of Ghana with all my strength and with all my heart. I promise to hold in high esteem our heritage won for us through the blood and toil of others. I pledge myself in all things to uphold and defend the good name of Ghana. So help me God. Up! Right! Stand! Out! East!
May we please be seated. We shall now continue with the Muslim prayers led by the acting Chief Imam of the Ghana Armed Forces and Imam Al-Haji Abdul Mumin Haru, the Ashanti Regional Chief Imam.
Ashanti Regional Chief Imam will now say the opening prayer, the Islamic way. Again, another symbol of the unity in diversity among Ghanaians. When Muslims, Christians, or traditionalists meet, it doesn't really matter. Any of them can say the prayers at any point in time. Sheikh Abdul Mumin is, yes.
So like you were saying, we'll first have the traditional prayer, and then we'll move to the Muslim prayer, and then the Christian prayer.
Right.
And that is very, very important and good for Ghana as a nation. In some countries, people are so intolerant that they cannot accept each other's faith. But we are lucky as a people. And so we need to use some of these petty things to build our unity as a people.
I have seen families in which you find three siblings, one being a traditionalist, the other being a Muslim, and the third being a Christian, and it doesn't really matter.
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Great things He has done. Greater things He will do. Unto the Lord be the glory. Great things He has done. Almighty God, creator of nations and peoples of the earth, we thank you for giving us this good land, Ghana, for our heritage. We humbly beseech you that we may always prove ourselves a people mindful of your favor and glad to do your will. Bless our land with honorable industry, sound learning, and pure manners. Save us from violence, discord, and confusion, from every evil way. Defend our liberties and passion into one united people, the multitudes brought here out of many kindreds and tongues. Look, O Lord, in mercy we pray you, upon this our noble country Ghana. Send out your light and truth, that they may lead us into paths of fellowship and peace. Break down all barriers of contention and strife, and grant that we may live together in brotherly unity and concord. country, especially His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic, the Vice President, His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, members of Parliament, the Judiciary, and Nanam, so that there may be justice and peace at home, and that through obedience to your law we may show forth your praise among the nations of the earth. In time of prosperity, fill our hearts with thankfulness, and in a day of trouble, suffer not our trust in you to fail. Our Heavenly Father, today marks the 63rd anniversary of Ghana's independence, and so we have met here to celebrate this national event. We pray that the Holy Spirit will preside at these activities of the day, so that we achieve grand success. At the end of it all, we will have every cause to praise your holy name. All these we ask through the might of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Prayed! Good morning, Mr. President. The 63rd Independence Anniversary Parade formed up by the Ghana Armed Forces, other security services, and the Ghana Education Service. 67 officers, 660 men and women drawn from the Ghana Army, the Ghana Navy, the Ghana Air Force, the Ghana Police Service, Ghana Prisons Service, Ghana National Fire Service, Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana Immigration Service, and the Ghana National Ambulance Service. 442 teachers, students, and pupils drawn from the schools within the metropolis, with a mass band by the Ghana Armed Forces and the Ghana Police Service. Ready for inspection. Group Captain Nana Edujemfi reporting. Mr. President.
In the last few years, the President, together with the CDS and the Inspector General of Police, I beg your pardon, will now inspect the parade.
Yes, and the Chief of the Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Obed Boama Akwa, the CDS, and the Inspector General of Police, Mr. James Opombuenu, are his ceremonial aide-de-camp. That is like personal assistant to him, because they are in charge of both internal security and external defense.
So do you remember ever taking part in one of these occasions? And I'm just recalling having to stand there and wait for the President to drive past you. It was a feeling that cannot be described. I don't know if you have had a similar experience.
I never had the experience of actually being there or being part of it, because somehow I never made the cut during the rehearsals, so I couldn't make it there. But it was always exciting to watch from home home and to sit behind the television and hear my father take us through the history every time it had to happen. Very exciting for children.
Teacher Kantanka, I'm sure you have seen quite a few of these occasions.
I remember the occasion very well. During the days of Nkrumah, students were lined up on the roadside, and I was always very happy to be amongst them. So holding our flags and waving when the president passes.
You actually had the honor of seeing the Osajifo himself, and what did it feel like standing there and seeing the man Osajifo, inspect a parade that you were very much a part of?
Yes, because you have been brought up to believe that he's the first gentleman of the land, and to see the first gentleman of the land, you become a bit very, very happy in your life. You write a story about yourself, one page in your life that you have seen the president.
That's right. And Commander, you was telling us about the inspection of the parade. The president, of course, is doing that in the company of his ceremonial aide camp, the IGP
and the CDS. Yes. And then we also have the Forces Sergeant Major. He's in the second vehicle, and he's the person of Chief Warrant Officer Baka Ramos. He's a most senior other rank in the Ghana Armed Forces. He's the most senior of all. Yes.
Okay. And so now we see the president actually inspecting the parade.
Yeah.
What is he looking?
It's purely ceremonial. It's purely ceremonial, and like you all shared, I'm sure if you're on parade and you saw the president drive past so close, you'll be excited.
True.
So it's purely ceremonial, but in the unit, it's for other reasons. It's meant to check your turnout from head to toe, and also parade in general are meant to test your endurance because it's physically asking to stand in for hours non-stop. But this inspection is purely ceremonial.
And have you had the privilege of being inspected by a president?
Oh yes, I have. I think this was in 2001. I was a contingent commander, and it was, in fact, the excitement is beyond description. And then when Ghana...
and Commander, this is what I have been waiting for. I mean, okay, so the president has driven past the security agencies. Now you see him driving past in front of some very young school children and students. And this is what I was asking Selikem and Teacher Kantanka about. The feeling that many of these students will take home simply cannot be described by words. For many of them, this is it, and they have been rehearsing for weeks just for this particular occasion.
And I'm sure this may be the closest a child will come to seeing the president his entire life.
And that's
so
one
it's
of the
very, very special.
It's one of the significance of decentralizing the national parade, the national celebration of occasions such as these, the Independence Day of Ghana. This is the 63rd Independence Parade, and if you just joined us, this is GTV. I'm in commentary position with my colleague Selikem Akolache. Okay, so we are getting ready for the lighting of the Perpetual flame.
Symbol of the spirit of independence. It reminds us of our responsibility to keep the spirit of nationalism alive. Salute of guards are commanded by Warrant Officer Class 2 Agbashisali Evelyn. The Ghana Army Guard is Sergeant Osaimen San Joseph Oheme. The Ghana Navy Guard is Petty Officer Class 2 Ashia Paul. The Ghana Air Force Guard is Sergeant Abeyen Otnil. The Police Guard is Sergeant Ibrahim Nazar.
Alright, so the lighting of the Perpetual Flame, it's one of the very significant ceremonies here.
Exactly. And the lighting of the Perpetual Flame is a symbol of the spirit of independence. It's also meant to awaken our spirit as individuals and as Ghanaians to uphold patriotism, nationalism. Anything that you do that does not promote the welfare of Ghana would have to desist from it and uphold only things that will move Ghana forward as a country.
And there we have it, the Perpetual Flame. And there is the playing of a sound I'm very familiar with, to have been coming from the military. And there we have it. The president has lighted the Perpetual Flame. And that's...
It's meant to rekindle the flame that individuals need as Ghanaians to ensure that they do the right thing so that our nation Ghana can move forward. So we need to be constantly reminded.
And the crowd here going ecstatic. They simply cannot control their excitement to be a part of this. For many of these people, this is the first time.
And in your shot now, we have the effort towing the Ghana flag as the Perpetual Flame is lighted. You know, the flag is a spirit of Ghana. When you go anywhere, you are holding the flag. You don't have to introduce yourself. You tell everybody where you are from. So just as the Perpetual Flame is lighted, the flag is to remind us of our commitment to Mother Ghana, to ensure that we progress as a people.
Everybody else is seeing the beauty of what has just happened. I am looking at the hard work behind the scenes that made this happen. It would have taken a lot of practice, a lot of rehearsal, and the timing was so perfect that as soon as the Perpetual Flame was lighted, the chopper with the Ghana flag just showed up in the air, waving the Ghana flag around. It's a sight to behold. The hard work, precision.
Exactly. And rehearsal is the only way you can get it right.
If you're watching us from wherever you are not at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium right now. Just over our heads at the moment, we can feel the vibration of the chopper as it flies over our heads from the position where we are bringing you commentary. You need to be here right now to have a feel of the excitement here. Our cameras will try to bring you all the reactions from the stands like we're doing now, but the emotions, you simply have to be here to feel it. Ashanti region, Kumasi is blessed to have this ceremony come to them, and you can see it for yourselves. Everyone is excited here.
And as we celebrate and are excited, we should not forget that we need to keep our spirits of nationalism alive. Sometimes when you're walking through town, you wonder whether we really love our nation. Filth has engulfed us, and so we need to remind ourselves, anything that draws us back, we have to desist from it.
And now that the Perpetual Flame has been lighted, but there are other activities that the president will be engaging in. The ceremony will continue from here. Selikem, are we able to let our audience know exactly what's coming up from here, and then we'll prepare them for it as we proceed with the coverage.
As we're going to see the security services continue. Some selected groups, including representatives of all the 16 regions. If you're updated, 16 regions now, and of course the Nation Builders Corps, forestation groups, and other banners. We are also going to see the march passed by the veterans as the Veterans Administration Ghana. We'll see a cultural display, gymnastics by the Ghana Armed Forces Physical Training School.
It is important, Selikem, to talk about the Veterans Administration Ghana and the members. This is a group that was formed following the riots in 1948, the Crossroads shooting in 1948 that got 3 soldiers who had returned from the Second World War, who had gone there to fight on the British. They returned, and the compensation that was due them was not given to them. And when they were going to the castle to demand for these compensations, 3 of them were killed on the spot. We are made to understand that a lot more of them died later from wounds they received on that occasion. We have Teacher Kantanka here. When the time permits us, we will allow Teacher to give us a bit of that history. She just talked about the fact that, and we'll be seeing them pretty shortly, the veterans who who returned from the war. 1948, largely it is believed that it was that single incident that sparked off the true attainment of independence and got Osajifo and JB Dankwa and everybody else who had a hand in Ghana's attainment of independence at the time to wake up and begin to actually push for the final shot to be given.
Yeah, that is very true. What happened after they had been shot, and 23 of them were also severely wounded, and this sparked general looting and misunderstanding everywhere. So this actually made the government of that day, that is the British government, understand that there is something heavier coming from the sky, so that they have to prepare. And this again made the civilians also engage in a lot of demonstrations.
We'll get back to that as we proceed with coverage of this event. But Commander, you tell us. So now we're about to see the what's the next thing? Telecom, you have all the details about the program, and then we'll proceed from there. We currently find pleasantries being exchanged by some of the high-profile dignitaries who are here. Of course, the president paying some courtesies to Otumfor, the Speaker of Parliament, and the other invited guests who are here, and we have already informed you. Seated to the right side of the president, standing there right now, is the guest of honor for the 63rd Independence Day celebration, who is the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and to his right is his spouse who came along with him. So we're about to see the march past now.
The Ghana Armed Forces and the security services will march off to pave way for the pupils and the students to march, as well as the other groups. And after that, we'll have the gymnastics and other cultural performances. It is after that the military.
So, by the right of quick march.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the contingents from the Ghana Armed Forces and other security services will march off to make way for the march past by the school children, representatives of the Nation Builders Corps, civil society groups, and the Veterans Administration Ghana. I will humbly hand you over to Madam Katanda Chumampofo, the Ghana Education Service Head of Public Relations, to continue with the march past by the basic and senior high schools.
Thank you very much, Captain Abena Dapua Dapa. under the theme Consolidating Our Gains at the Bahayara Sports Stadium. Your Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, the school's contingent from the Ghana Education Service were drawn from the Kumasi metropolis, Oforikum, Kwadaso, and Asokoriman Municipal. The schools are made up of 5 senior high schools, 8 basic schools, and 1 vocational special school. The basic schools are St. Luanga, JHS, Weweso MAJHS,
countries
the
opening
Nyame
the way for
MAJHS,
other countries to
CI Amadia JHSB,
indeed
Tapo
it is a day
Pankono
of great pride for many Ghanaians.
College Basic Day, Odumase Extension, and Good Shepherd Junior High School.
So all the pupils and students who will be marching here are pupils and students who have been assembled from various schools in the Kumasi metropolis. And they will be doing the march past. They have been rehearsing on these grounds for at least 5 weeks. And so we wait to see what they have to display to the rest of Ghana. It's the 63rd Independence Day in Ghana, and before we see the students come to march, and of course the GS is playing an active role in this. This is the armed forces,
mass band.
The mass band.
Yes, and it's made up of the Armed Forces Central Band, the Army Band, the Navy Band, the Air Force Band, and the Police Band. So this is the mass band.
Okay, and I just wanted to find out from the traditional rulers' point of view here, how when you first heard that this year the ceremony was being taken to Kumasi, what was the reception like? How did you receive that news?
It was wholehearted. Without asking any question, we had to embrace it with all our hearts because it makes history. The first time in history that something of that nature is to take place in Kumasi and for the whole of the region.
It's interesting that you are a historian and today you will be part of history. When many years to come, it is said that the first Independence Day parade at the national level, when it was brought to Kumasi, Teacher Kantanka was part of the commentary team for GBC, and so you become a part of history, and others will have to narrate that many years to come. After today.
I was holding the flag, and among those who had lined up on the roadside, and it was even difficult to sing the national anthem those days. Those days in the early 60s, the national anthem was not God Bless Our Homeland Ghana. It was Lift Up the Flag of Ghana.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got to this point, and this is where Commander would have to let us know exactly what is going on. President Akufo-Addo and his guest of honor.
All right, so now we have the mass band in our shot, and the parade commander has called the student contingent to attention, and they have started marching. In all, we have 16 contingents from basic and senior high schools drawn from Kumasi Metropolis and Kwadaso, Oforikrum, and Asokore Mampong municipality. We would also have the Veterans Administration Ghana March Pass. We also have the Nation Builders Corps, or NAPCO. We'll have representatives from all 16 regions. I can tell you for sure that we'll have the Kayayes also on parade today, and so it's going to be a beautiful sight to behold.
The Kayaye, we saw them when they were coming in. I thought it was a beautiful sight. but I had my
indistinctively with their headbands. So you could tell that these were the KIA coming in, and I'm sure that in our subsequent bulletins we'll bring you some of those shots.
We'll bring those, but I have my personal reservations, which I'll express later on another platform. But all the same, the KIA were here with their headbands also to participate at this event. We'll see them, and one of the questions we have is, or do we intend to take these girls off the streets and give them something more reliable to depend on, and so on? These are questions, of course, that will come up. Everything that happens here is supposed to ignite a conversation that will eventually help in the development of the nation. And so let's talk about all these things. But then we have the students marching right now. For many of these students, as we've been talking about since we began a commentary on this celebration, we have been telling, for many of these students, this will forever be in their memories. Many of them will live to tell generations yet unborn how they were a part of this. Today we've had teacher Kantanka, who had the privilege of waving a flag when Nkrumah visited. Today he's telling that story, still with a lot of excitement and still with some very nostalgic memories and feelings. So many of these, another 50 years to come, 60 years to come, will be recounting the day they were part of this event.
Let me take this opportunity to explain the kind of kente that the president has on his
right. Yes.
That kente tells a lot of history. It is called Ohene Afrosheng. That was made to commemorate the occasion when the king of Ashanti was exiled. British came to this Kumasi and arrested him and took him to the Seychelles Islands. And the people who were weaving at that time, the weavers at that time from Bonyure, decided to commemorate the occasion by weaving a type of kente called Ohene Afrosheng. And that is what the president has around his neck.
All right, beautiful. And then when the president comes back on our screens, we will certainly let you explain again so that our viewers. And there he is. That's the president taking the salute. And so these are the colors you were explaining to us.
We have a type of design which we call a zigzag, which means that I am general, I'm ubiquitous, I'm hardworking.
Wow. And so last year, in Tamale, we're told that even the way you wear a hat with a smoke gives out a certain message. It's the same with the kente, the colors you wear and the designs on. And so if I am not aware of the meaning of some design and I wear it to a certain public space and give the wrong message, what can be the repercussions on me?
Well, people there who understand the meaning might approach you and maybe give you a new cloth to wear. If you are wearing a whole piece of cloth, you will be giving another to wear.
All right. We'll come to the traditional bit in a short while. We'll now turn our attention to the students who have been drawn from, this is the TI Ahmadiyya Senior High School, my school, and Okuwari Senior High School. Forgive my bias, I simply cannot. And Flying Officer Anas is very much a part of this as well. I also an old student of Amas. This is Okuwari Senior High School in their traditional yellow and sea blue colors. It's beautiful, and the lines are meticulously straight. These students have been practicing for a while, I can tell.
And at this point, you can't afford to miss. You would have to fall in line because it is a time where you finally get to showcase all the practice and all the hard work that has gone into this. And as they march, then you'll be giving credit to schools and how they're doing and their performance as they are coming
the
through.
Sankofa Senior High School there in your shot, and they are in their white and pink
baby pink.
That's nice. Oh.
And they're being led by their teachers who have been taking them through the rigorous training, and you can see.
And I'm told that in many schools, to select a teacher who will lead these students in this kind of ceremony, sometimes the competition is tough. It can be very keen just to decide which of the teachers, because even for teachers, this is not a small matter, as we say in Ghana.
And the President, His Excellency, will be standing through as he receives all these students marching past T.I. Ahmadiyya Senior High School again, one senior short. And their lines are straight.
Our lines
JHS is also marching through. That is the St. Luanga JHS being led by a female teacher. It's important to emphasize in these times of talking about gender equality. We see women playing their role.
And do you see the feet of the students? It's in unison. None of them missing their steps. And these are basic schools. A while ago we saw the basic schools. We were so.
Senior high school.
What's instructive is that all the schools that are marching here were assembled from the Kumasi metropolis and surrounding areas, and it's homegrown. Kumasi beyond age, so to speak. This is beautiful. And so on occasions such as this, it's the mass band that is providing the background music to which the march past is taking place. Commander, you may want to tell us what goes into selecting the songs. I realize many of the songs, how do you select them?
Well, the session is done and his personnel, but basically we normally play martial music or patriotic songs. You know, on this day we need to whip up that spirit of nationalism, and so it's basically patriotic songs and martial music that is played, and that is normally the responsibility of the band officer, so he does that in conjunction with his lieutenants.
Yeah. All right.
Basic school.
Yes,
just
a while ago. Yes.
Okay, so this is not my fault, but again, my school.
But this time they are paying compliments, so you can turn to the right.
This is a junior high school,
okay,
and they have turned to the right.
Yes, to pay compliments.
So, and at some point, the leader shouts, "Eyes right," and you can't miss it. You can't get it wrong when they say eyes right. The eyes must turn to the right at the same time.
Yes.
Interesting. And so, who does the training of these children?
The students? College, primary school, just marching past there. So much effort put into the preparation of this one event. Historic event, a big day for people in Kumasi, a very big day for people in the Ashanti region, and a historic one, of course, because it's now 16 regions. If it's going to go around, you don't know when it will come back to your turn again. So yes, the preparations that were put into this were really done meticulously.
And so the pupils and the students, when they march off, they would go and take their seats. You know, over the years, when we keep them there for too long, a lot of them fall off. Some of them are so anxious, I believe they don't even eat at home. And so for this year, we're allowing them, once they march off, you go and take their seats. And that is when the Ghana Armed Forces and the other security services will march on to continue with the rest of the parade. That's Good Shepherd RC Junior High School. And I cannot stress enough that as we put in so much effort for today, we should always remember that in everything we do, Ghana must come first. And that is Odumase Esperance Junior High. These are physically challenged persons, students who were not left out of the fund.
This emphasizes the fact that disability is not inability, because they were also able to stay in the sun and they came early, they've done their rehearsals and they are showing off what they are able to do.
That is NAPCO. Yes, Nation Builders Corps. And right behind NAPCO, we have Ahafo region.
That's a beautiful shot. Best eye view of the entire event. 63rd Ahafo region is here to celebrate the 63rd Independence Day as well. And again, we have a list of those who will be marching past before the security agencies take their turn. These are traditional organizations also. This is the Ahafo region. Ahafo region was created a little over a year ago, about 1.5 years ago, I believe, when in December 2018, Ghanaians went to the polls to decide through a referendum for the creation of more regions. The Bono region, the Ahafo region, the Bono region heavily represented here as well. So we had the Bono region being created. Then the Bono East, of course, Ashanti region has always existed since independence.
And the capital of the Ahafo region is Gosu, as well as the Bono.
The Bono East region is Techiman. So we see the beauty of the Ghanaian kente, of course, once again in display. These are the masqueraders.
Central regional masqueraders, Central region masqueraders. Obviously, you can tell from the activity.
And it's amazing how unique things can be attributed to groups in Ghana. As soon as I saw the masqueraders, even without having to read the band, that's 80%. And they have a special festival, especially in Winnipeg, where you have these things
and
happening.
you have the Manya Krobo cultural troupe also coming in, and of course, typically represented of them in their beats and headgear, the beads, and the way the cloth is worn. That is the Manya Krobo cultural troupe. Masqueraders once again inside. Normally you see them pop up during the holiday season. Oh, and we have the Greater Accra region.
Okay, so it means that all the regions across the country are here to showcase what they have in terms of culture and in terms of their unique identities. We are being told currently the 40,000 capacity Baba Yara Stadium is filled up. There is no longer space to accommodate anybody. Can you believe that? More than 40,000 people have already arrived at the stadium. Every seat at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium is occupied as we speak, and around on the peripheries of the stadium, a lot of people have come together here. The police are pleading with people in the Ashanti region, those who are not here, to stay home and enjoy the scenes from the comfort of their homes, to enjoy the comfort of their...
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. I would like to plead with our people in Kumasi that whoever wants to come to the stadium right away would plead with the person to stay at home and watch it on TV. It's streaming live on GTV. The stadium is full to capacity. We're pleading with the general public. The peripheries, as the communicator said, is also full. We don't want to record any stampede. Therefore, whoever is yet to come to the stadium should please stay at home and watch it on television. Thank you very much. I am ASP Godwin Ahianyo, the PR of the Ghana Police Service.
The Manya Krobo cultural troupe. There once again overhead shots, typically in their waist, high waist clothes, headgear. This should be coming from northern Ghana, the northern region, of course, one of the regions represented. That is the northern region represented in the smog. So every region here is regions being showcased to the world. The President, His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is in the company of his wife, the First Lady Rebecca Akufo-Addo, seated to his left and to his right, a special guest of honor for the 63rd Independence Day celebrations. His Excellency Honorable Dr. Christopher Rowley and his wife who are here. And up next, we are seeing the OT region being showcased. The capital of the OT region is Dambai, and that is the OT region. The OT region was carved out of the Volta region, and that is the interesting one. I see that their eyes are covered. I hope, but this is well rehearsed, so they know exactly what they're doing. And the upper west region, in their smokes there. Oh yes, and fire display.
Yes, this display of if like spiritual prowess and culture as well, all combined in one. It's about time we began also to look at, as we talk about heritage, especially within the month of March, the month of independence, that we begin to look at the beautiful aspects of our traditional beliefs as well, so that our love for Christianity and for Islam does not make us do away with many of our traditions.
Especially the preservation of our culture in the face of taking on other Western culture and abandoning what is truly ours.
Okay.
That's the Savannah region. In your show, the capital of Savannah region is Damongo.
Savannah region, of course, one of the regions that was recently carved out of the northern region. The Savannah region as well as the northeast region were carved out of the then northern region to make way for easy administration of that region, because it was extremely huge and past regional ministers had a difficulty administrating a large region such as that, and they are here, Savannah region. Butchers and Livestock Farmers Association, these are a group of people who have contributed to the nutrition needs of Ghanaians, and indeed under the watch of President Akufo-Addo, they have a policy, the rearing for food and jobs, and these groups of people and the railway line are here as well. And recently we've seen the construction of a railway line ongoing from our Mpakadam through to Tema and other areas in the country, and it's exciting to know that that is being revived as well. The masqueraders, of course, always on parade. The Volta region, the region that recently gave birth to the Uti region, it's here also displaying their unique identity, their culture, and some Bobo dance as well. You cannot miss Volta. No, there's no way. Sorry, you, I'm sure you identify with this.
I do identify with it. The Volta region, the Bobo dance, and it is done in a special fashion, because it might look very easy, but if you don't take care, you can't twist the handkerchiefs around and get it moving throughout the dance. Interesting to see our rich culture in diversity being displayed.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the Keita port. Saw that a while ago. 63 years of independence, 63 years of the name Ghana. But people have said that after 63 years, what gains have we made as a people? All too often, we have tended to look at the negative stories and failed all too often to see the positives that Ghana has made, the positive marks and gains that Ghana has made in the last 63 years. Internationally, Ghana is acclaimed as an icon of peace and a beacon of democracy. And so there are times that I believe, Teacher Kantanka, that we must pause to reflect not just on the negatives, but also on the many, many positive things that have happened to Ghana in the last 63 years.
Yes, that we are united cannot be left out. It is only unfortunate that occasionally lack of knowledge makes some politicians make statements which divide us. But this is enough to tell us that what is important is to make sure that all that we do is towards unity.
Yes,
the Ashanti
Vice President
has always been at the center of culture, not because they are the only people with culture. All have their culture, and today we have seen culture displayed from all regions. The culture here is strong and maintained because they were the last to be colonized. Those at the coast had theirs a bit adulterated just because they had opportunity, if you like, to associate themselves with a European group. Of culture in them. We are told that the people here did not want independence. This we must learn that is not true, because Ashanti had to give up its own independence to join the coastal people, that is the Gold Coast, to attain independence. Before Ghana's independence, Ashanti was an independent nation. It was rather the Gold Coast that was under the British control. And when the time came for the Gold Coast to demand their independence, Ashanti met and decided that no, we cannot have our independence when our brothers don't have theirs. So let's drop our independence, join them as a one nation, call ourselves also Gold Coast. So Ashanti became part of the Gold Coast and they fought for their independence. So that is a big sacrifice.
The 63rd Independence Day parade here at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. Just had Teacher Kantanka, who is a historian at the Minsha Palace, tell us that contrary to some historical narratives that the Ashanti Kingdom at the time did not want Ghana to be independent, that indeed they joined the rest of the people of the then Gold Coast to strive and to fight for the attainment of independence. And so whoever has that narrative, you must begin to revise your notes at this point in time. We're still seeing various groups. These are nurses groups showing what stuff they are also made of, participating actively here at this independence. These are fruit sellers and producers. Everyone, all people, all walks of life are here and they are fully participating in this event. And what excites me about this is Selikem, the patriotism. Nobody is being paid for taking part in this parade. Everyone here is doing that on the basis of volunteerism, and so it means that the Ghanaian can volunteer, the Ghanaian can offer service for free, the Ghanaian is patriotic, the Ghanaian, or 2482 right there, sitting in state together with his wife and other dignitaries from the Ashanti Kingdom. And so I was talking about the spirit of the Ghanaian when the right atmosphere is created for him. You don't agree with me?
Exactly. It's important for us to acknowledge that we have an identity. That identity is something that cannot be taken away from us. No matter how globalized we are, being the Ghanaian you are, with the language you speak and where you come from makes you and it is protecting our land, our natural resources, our assets, and defending what we have. And there you have in your short the Kayaye who have just come in.
We were telling you earlier about the Kayaye.
Just before them bushmeat sellers, just gone by, but you see the Kayaye.
And for those who may not be familiar,
do not need a banner. They by their headpans you can tell what they are and who they are and what they trade in.
Yes, these are the Bushmeat Sellers Association. bush. These are not just ordinary meat sellers, but they are the bush meat. That's the first time I'm having to know that there's an association of bush meat sellers, and it's exciting to see this association. Then it means that the bush meat industry can be regularized and regulated. I beg your pardon. That's because anybody kills anything and calls it bush meat, but once they have an association, I'm sure that they will ensure that we have wholesome meat coming from Ghanaian bushes.
And it also raises the point of having minority groups involved in whatever you're doing, and no matter how little the group is, or no matter how small the business community is, it is represented here.
Let's now look at the kayaye, and for those who are not familiar with the word kayaye or kayayo, simply refers to a girl who carries items on the head. It's headquarters around markets in Ghana, and there is a strong advocacy to help these girls and take them up the streets, give them something more dignifying to do than carry items on their heads like that. I'm sure they are here to make a statement, and these are young pupils from different schools here displaying what they hope to become in future. In Ghana, most children want to either become doctors or lawyers or nurses, and we are seeing that these are our future leaders exactly, and the president. This is another. Okay, so and you found us laughing there. It's a relief. It's a comic relief. So, Commander, we have the Veterans Administration Ghana.
Yeah.
The Veterans Administration Ghana. At this point, I'll go back to Teacher Kantanka to take some comments from Teacher Kantanka. Teacher Kantanka, you were telling us about the veterans, the war that was fought, the Second World War. What actually led to that war, and why did people from the then Gold Coast participate at that war?
The Second World War, which started in 1939 and ended in 1945, was sparked by Germany. I think at a point in time, Germany wanted to control the world, and they started taking control over the neighboring states around Europe. So the world was alarmed, and the whole world decided to stop Germany from that act. And Ghana was part of Britain. That is, Britain was our colonial master, so wherever they went, we had to go with them. So people were recruited from here to fight at different fronts to liberate us from the German control. That is where we had these veterans coming from. After the war, the pensioned soldiers organized themselves into an association called a Veterans Association. It is this same veteran who marched to the castle to demand some rights from the colonial master, where three of them were shot, and that sparked the independence struggle.
And the three were Sergeant Ajete, Corporal Atipo, and Private Odati Lamte. The president conferring with his guest of honor, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Seated to the left of the president, of course, is his wife, the First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Ekufu-Addo. And so presently we are seeing the military setup.
Yes, those are the physical training instructors who are setting the stage for their physical training display. But before then, let me just add something little to what Teacher Kantaka said. The veterans, those who fought in the Second World War, most of them are very weak or have passed on. And so those on parade were persons who have participated in most of our peacekeeping missions. So most of the veterans could not march today because of their age.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so again, a snapshot of the beautiful scenes of Ghanaians. President J.A. Kufuor, he made it here as well. President J.A. Kufuor was president of the Republic of Ghana from 2001 until he handed over in 2009 to the late Professor J.E.A. Mills, who had won the elections in the year 2008, and the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, John Boydu, a while ago, conferring with some security personnel.
And of course, the theme for this year's Independence Day celebration is consolidating our gains as a people. We are looking back on how far we have come, the fact that we've been able to maintain the peace and unity in diversity, regardless of the fact that Ghana speaks 76 different languages, has 76 different languages. We still have that unity in diversity, and unity in diversity in terms of culture, in terms of other things, as well as our way of doing things. And this year we are focusing on consolidating our gains. What are our gains as a people, and how are we bringing this to bear together as a people? How are we putting our wheels to the shoulder to make our nation great and strong and maintain the peace?
In many events organized by the military, and I've seen military officers display and show what stuff they are made of. I've seen displays and events organized by cultural groups, and how beautifully they can display the culture of Ghana and the diversity of Ghana, but never have I seen such a mix of all activities, whether cultural, religious, and military, and school children come together to provide such a beautiful scene. This is the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, and we have already told you, we heard from the police PRO of the Ashanti region himself a while ago. The stadium is already filled to capacity. They are unable to accept any new entrants, and he has urged all those who are not yet here to remain at home and watch the proceedings on TV, because there's no longer space to accommodate anybody at the stadium here, and that tells you the extent to which the people are excited about the relocation of this year. But this is beautiful display of some Ghanaian dancers.
Dr. Kate. The Center for National Culture in Kumasi. The trainers are Berima Esumedusechi, the Regional Director for the Center for National Culture, Mustafa Isa, Head of Performing Arts Department of the Center, Kofi Obeng Onyina, the Sectional Head, and Julius Yaukwansa, the Acting Dance Instructor and Choreographer.
And that was a performance from
Next,
the
we shall have
Center
military
for
physical
National
training
Culture.
display.
And the military will now show us their physical training display. So again, what's the significance of such a display on an occasion such as this? But again, anytime we have these scenes, I cannot resist the temptation just to express my own excitement and admiration for the beauty. You can see the diversity. Even though you find a lot more people in Kente, and this is where we have the military people coming in.
Exactly. Physical fitness is #1 requirement of every military person. And so for those who will be interested in joining the military in future, if you are not fit, please, you are out of the question. And these are physical training instructors. And so they will have to be extra fit, more than the average military person. There are some displays that you will see here and you think it's very easy. If you want to try it, you end up breaking your limbs or your neck. And so I would advise children in their homes that never to try it. So it's just to show to the whole world the fitness level of the Ghana Armed Forces, and also to let you know that some tasks may not be that simple, but with constant training you can easily overcome them.
Particularly in Tamale, we saw, and that picture went viral after the 6th of March 2019 when we saw that military person jump through a ring of fire without scratching himself. That picture went viral after the 6th of March on that day.
Then I think you should stand by for more of such pictures.
Okay, so these are the physical trainers.
Yes, so that is their leader. He just come to ask permission for them to commence. And so that is the prone lying and thigh support. So those on the chairs have thigh support and those in front have prone lying. And then
wow.
We have shoot through and split to sit. That was there a while ago. And that was the backward roll and forward roll out of chair act. that is backward roll forward out of the chair, and then forehead spring and backward roll to sit. It looks very simple, but it's not that simple.
Can imagine the hours of rehearsal that had to go into doing this, because as an individual you may be able to do it alone, but to do it together with others and in unison would demand a lot of practice and rehearsal. I just saw what happened there.
Yes.
And this is almost like marching while still engaging in some form of exercise.
Yes.
And they are doing it to precision and timing.
Yes, back band lift and handspring in pairs. That's what we are watching now. Bend back lifts and handspring in pairs.
So these are the personnel,
the physical training instructors
who train
the military personnel.
The military personnel.
Yes, and they are military personnel themselves.
Commander, did you go through this?
Oh yes, every military personnel goes through.
You did this?
I may not know. I didn't necessarily do it because I am not a PTI. So the PT course is also a core.
And the crowd went ecstatic over this one.
Because it's pretty.
Yes,
very nice.
It was very nice. But if there was a mistake there, you can imagine the kind of pain it would have caused the receiver of that mistake.
Exactly.
And so, and this is where the warning comes in: do not try this at home. You need to be an expert to be able to try some of these stunts that the military personnel here are displaying. The president obviously
the president's excited
with what he's seen. He's the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. If this is what it takes to join the military, no wonder I'm a journalist. I could never have joined the military.
Oh, you can with determination. I believe everything in life is about determination. And most of us go without having any idea, but with determination, one can sail through. But it's difficult, I must admit. So that's one phase of the display. And now we are having the individual displays. So that's a freestyle display by the physical instructors, and the aim is to test their ability and agility.
And the response from the crowd is so at this level, you as a physical trainer on this stage, you come and do whatever you feel like doing.
But they've rehearsed, so you know which one you are doing and which the other person is doing, so that we can have a variety of them.
Wow. Do not try this at home. You will feel dizzy. I'm already feeling dizzy on his behalf. I feel dizzy on his behalf, really. That was amazing. That was amazing. Again, shots from the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi, filled to capacity stadium. Ghanaians are enthusiastic about Ghana. The people of Kumasi are enthusiastic about Ghana, and they're excited that this honor has been done them. The national parade has been brought to their doorsteps, and currently the physical trainers of the Ghana Armed Forces on display, showing us what stuff they are made of. And if you have ideas of joining the military, perhaps these are some exercises you may be psyching yourself up for.
Exactly. You may have to take part in some of these, especially if you are physical training instructor. If you join the physical training instructors, then you would have to necessarily take part. The next is horse work. And I'll leave the description to you.
Horse work.
horsework.
Okay, so when you said horsework, I was looking out for where the horses were. But I'm not seeing horses. I'm seeing men jump over
what looks like a horse.
What looks like a horse. Yes. And so this is what to ensure that if you meet any obstacle, you will be able to scale over.
Cross it easily. Yes. So that is face vault on and off. Then we have the through vault and astride vault.
Right. That was beautiful. Yes, it's all part of it. Of course, Santinos 82, Otumfo's 82, the second, also admiring the scenes here. He must be a very proud king at the moment. He's here admiring and observing events as they unfold. The scenes here are so beautiful. The cameras will not be able to bring every thing to you in your homes, but we'll try to give you as much as we can. This is still the armed forces, the Ghana Armed Forces, displaying some skills. These are physical trainers, and Commander Veronica Ahen, who is here in commentary position with me, has been warning us that we should not try this at home. This is for experts. If you are not one, do not try it. You may end up hurting yourself. Selikam, did you ever dream of engaging in any of these exercises?
Absolutely not. It appears that even this one was well rehearsed over and over again. It takes a lot of effort and skill to have to get to this point of perfection.
Wow.
This is just admirable, and you can just hear the crowd appreciate the display, the physical display.
Of course, the Ghana Armed Forces, noted as one of the best around the world on many UN peacekeeping missions. The reports have indicated that the Ghana Armed Forces have been very professional and meticulous at
and
whatever it is they do. Yes.
And that is a dive and roll through the loop. Dive and roll through the loop.
Oh. So and two persons come almost at the same time, and
creates a loop and one dives through the loop. Sorry. One
creates
a loop and the other one dives through it.
And here again, with the least mistake, there could be a crash of heads.
Exactly.
So
it's done with training. And let me add that Lieutenant Gershon Adase and his able safety supervisors, Chief Petty Officer Class 1 Aqua Bernard, Staff Sergeant Oklu Roland Moses, and Petty Officer Class 1 Seshi Sylvester, Flag Sergeant Amponsa Jeffrey, and Staff Sergeant Adato Courage worked tirelessly to bring this personnel to this level. Even though they are physical training instructors, they still needed to train.
This is GBC's coverage of the 63rd Independence Parade and the first national parade ever to be held in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi. The first was in the northern regional capital of Tamale, and here in Kumasi we're seeing beautiful scenes, beautiful sounds, beautiful people, beautiful cultures, diversity of cultures meeting at one spot, and that spot is here at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. So the loop and dive and loop?
Dive and roll through the loop. But this one is somersault through the loop. So he has created the loop by you somersault over him.
Oh, wow.
So that's a higher jump.
Yes,
That's a higher
higher
jump.
one.
And again, with the least of mistakes, we could have trouble in our hands. And so,
Exactly.
what it means again is that don't try this at home. It's for the experts. And this is just an indication of how physically fit the men of the Ghana Armed Forces are. And I'm beginning to
That's
get
your
memories of
Yes.
Tamale coming back. I saw something similar, and then it began to blaze with fire, and we had men and personnel from the Ghana Armed Forces jump. Okay, so we go. There we go again. You can. And the crowd is responding to this again. The crowd went ecstatic over this one. Anytime someone jumps through it successfully, because if you fail to do so, you will not go back home the same.
You can't afford to touch any of the edges.
You cannot.
But this will also be very hot.
Yes, it is fire, so it's hot.
Oh dear.
So again, I'm always curious about some of these things. So, in practicality, what would this do for us as a people or as an army? What's this supposed to mean?
That if you have a mission to accomplish and you need to overcome this, then you have to find a way of overcoming it. You don't have to allow fire to be an obstacle. You don't have to allow rain to be an obstacle. In fact, nothing must be an
Heights
obstacle.
we've seen should not be an obstacle because they're jumping at a high altitude, if you like. But again, you have to be so precise that you have to go through fire to be able to get to
Achieve your task.
Wow. And so there we had
jumping over it.
He tried to jump over it, but indeed, okay, so this is jumping over it.
Yes, we are.
The first was jumping
Through it.
Now it's jumping over it actually. Okay,
And that's he jumped paying compliments.
What does that mean?
He was saluting when he jumped through the ring. Oh, you didn't see it. You missed
okay,
it.
that was very fast. Paying compliments. He was
Yes,
saluting.
he was saluting.
Whilst jumping at the same time.
Exactly.
And he jumps through.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yes.
And the president is rising to show his appreciation.
So the leader is going to ask permission again for them to march off. Yes, and their motto is strong mind, strong body.
Strong mind, strong
body. Of course, you need a strong mind to be able to withstand some of the very torturous experiences, and then you need a strong body to be able to withstand the very physically demanding tasks that the Ghana Armed Forces have to go through in order to protect our territorial integrity, but also to participate at the UN level and the AU level to ensure that Ghana remains an active member of the UN and also an active member of the AU and other international bodies such as the ECOWAS and so on. And so it's instructive that we are aware that our men and women in uniform are always physically and mentally stable and alert at all times to protect our interest. And that was the physical trainers of the Ghana Armed Forces. So now everything is in the hands of the security agencies at this point in time. We've seen the horsework. What next?
We have a little surprise, and I'll start speaking only when they start it.
Oh, so you have a surprise for who? For the audience, for the president?
For our viewers.
So it's a little surprise.
Yes.
And
this is a short scenario to how if there's a need to rescue somebody, like a very important personality has been kidnapped, and then a special force is inserted to go and then rescue the person. Before such people get onto the field, we'll have security intelligence giving us an idea as to the location. And then in real life scenario, aircraft would have dropped the persons far away, and then they'll find their own means to the location. So we are assuming that they have found their location, and some personnel will rappel and others will do fast roping. There are two types of getting down from the aircraft to rescue that person who has been kidnapped. But for the sake of time, I'm sure they are going to give an abridged version, so you will not see all the nitty-gritty.
So now this chopper is assumed to have arrived at the spot where the person is being held hostage, so to speak.
This particular one will have to be happening a bit far from the location.
Because it will draw attention.
It will draw attention.
So it will be far from the location.
Yes.
And then the personnel would have to find a way of
walking down here. Exactly.
Okay. So this is where we are now.
Yes. So this is rappelling. What you are seeing now, that form of dropping is called rappelling, and it's normally dropped off the location for the personnel to walk a distance or drive, whichever means is available, to the site of the operation. And because I'm privy to it, let me add that the first person coming out is a female.
Oh,
yes,
we have. Well, it's clear. We can see it's a female, and she's done it so effortlessly. She's landed very well. So they will from here then join, because we saw two men with a motorbike like.
It's more than two. It's because of the camera.
Okay.
They have actually secured the whole place, so they have them around virtually the whole stadium.
So this is rappelling from the chopper to the location, not the direct location, but a location a bit far away, so that you do not draw the attention of the enemy before you go in for the rescue. Otherwise, then the enemy would devise defensive mechanisms against you.
Exactly.
So it is assumed that here at this point, the enemy doesn't know that any action is being taken.
No. And even if it happens that they have to drop the enemy at the exact location, okay, should I be giving out so much information? I think I'll keep it to myself. So
we'll see the surprise.
What we have now.
Yeah, we'll have the surprise here. But from here, really, I'm just being curious. So then what next? They will now walk, because there's an advanced team, and we are not seeing communication between the advanced team and those rappelling from the chopper at the moment. How they communicate with each other?
I believe, normally this is planned way back in our bases. That maybe at so and so time this group will go, so and so time you go, and the rappelling team would have to rappel onto the ground and secure the ground before those coming to do their actual rescue would come. So another team will come. But I'm sure for the sake of time we might not show everything. And the fact that we see them rappelling so easily doesn't make it easy at all. It can be very, very intimidating. Even the aircraft alone, the air blowing around it can create a lot of challenge. So this required training. And this person is coming out with a dog. This is a trained dog for such exercises or operations.
And the dog is aware of this. So the dog has trained, and this is not the first time the dog is going through such an exercise.
No, this is not the first time.
Okay. And the dog is trained to know all the other persons, all the other men and women in the battalion?
No, not necessarily. Yes. But the dog trainer gives it instructions and it obeys.
Right.
No, dogs are very sensitive pets. If only you have time and train them, you can use them for so many things. And these are specially trained military dogs for operations.
we've seen quite a few since we arrived at the venue yesterday. Very strong looking dogs with huge muscles, with the ability to push down a man if you're not careful. We've seen a few of them here, and it's exciting to know that the Ghana Armed Forces is that well prepared in terms of yes.
So in reality, this team will go and help those on the ground to secure wherever. So this team will drop off and walk to close to the location of the incident and secure the place and be ready to fire back or return fire if the enemy should try to fire on them. Sometimes, or maybe when the person is running off, the dog can be directed to go and then arrest it. Yeah. This is the fast roping. This one, they do it much faster than the rappelling. And this one normally is closer to the site. So before this team comes, the rappelling team should have been in position. You see, they're so quick, and that's the commanding officer of the unit. It's thicker. But like I said, for the sake of time, a lot of things have been left out. Yes. Because there will be the need to exchange fire and all that. It will not be done. So please, those of you who are expecting, sorry.
There will not be exchange of gunfire. No. Yeah. Okay, so they have rappelled from the chopper, and then the second one, the
fast roping.
The fast roping.
Yes, they have also come down, and they are coming to actually rescue the person who has been kidnapped.
Right. This is actually the first time we are seeing this as part of the parade at any Independence Day. This is an innovation, and it is new, it's novel and exciting to watch. For those of us who rarely come close to military and their actions, this presents us with a very exciting picture.
Okay, so this is the Special Forces of the Ghana Armed Forces. We have personnel from the Ghana Army, and we also have personnel from the Ghana Navy. The Navy Special Forces is known as the Special Boat Squadron. And the members of the rappelling team, the first crew, were Fly Lieutenant Dominic Ajokache, Fly Lieutenant Daniel Foley, Fly Lieutenant Samuel Nyako Mensah, Fly Lieutenant Patrick Opoku Buachi, and Warrant Officer Class 1 Mafo Osei Halifax, as well as Warrant Officer Class 1 Richard Mensah. And those who came through the pilot for the fast roping, Squadron Leader Evans Kwabna Opoku, Squadron Leader Benjamin Ochre, and Fly Lieutenant Abdul Nasser Salia, with Sergeant Tebi Kenneth, and Sergeant Kina Steven, and Corporal Aticho Charles. And so the dog has helped them to arrest whoever is fomenting the trouble. So they just to inform the public that if there's something that needs special forces to go and undertake the operation, they would go and do it. So now they are searching the criminal to be sure he has nothing on him.
The crowd of people here at the Babayara Stadium observing as the Ghana Armed Forces, I should say, show us what stuff they're made of and how prepared they are to protect the territorial integrity of the Republic of Ghana. We've come a long way, 63 years of independence, 63 years of so much to celebrate and so much to look forward to. President now taking his seat. So the special forces are now marching off.
Yes.
Assignment has been done.
Yes, accomplished.
Accomplished,
Yes.
and the attacks is done, and they will now go home, if you like.
Yes.
They've been dismissed.
Yes, they sought permission.
It's in the military that dismissal means something different from the rest. When you are dismissed, I've heard that in the military, that means go home. In other circles, when you are dismissed, it means don't come back here ever again.
Yeah, it has different meanings at different times. So if you're on parade and they said turn to your right, dismiss, it means turn to your right. You have closed whatever we are doing.
Go home.
But you can also be dismissed from the armed forces. So it can be used in the connotation that you know as well.
Thank you so much, the Vice President of the Republic. Again, at the risk of sounding repetitive, the Baba Yara Sports Stadium is filled to capacity. 40,000 plus people are here. We have thousands more around the vicinity of the stadium. Every parking space, every sitting space has been occupied, to the extent that the police have made a public appeal to people not to leave their homes for the stadium, and that they should stay at home, because even if you come, you will not be able to get a chance to come inside the stadium. Now we see the mass band again.
Yes, and the mass band will be trooping, after which the contingents, the Ghana Armed Forces and the other security services will now march back onto the parade. You know, the mass band is part of the parade, and because it will not have time to march past like the other contingent, it normally troops, and the aim of the trooping is to display. So I'm sure with time we'll see what they have for us.
So this is the mass band. And the mass band is made up of various bands from the various wings of the Ghana Armed Forces.
Yes, we have the Armed Forces Central Band, we have the Army Band, we have the Navy Band, the Air Force Band, and the Police Band. And so they always come together during.
And on this occasion, who then leads the band? Is it the Army, the Navy, the police, or who leads the band?
Normally the most senior, and in this person is the band officer. In this instance is the band officer, and it's the person of Naval Lieutenant Stanley Theophilus Brock. And he's assisted by Lieutenant Emmanuel Eric Yaboa, Lieutenant Foster Opoku Jan, and Assistant Superintendent of Police Felix Ofe Osei Maabua. So the leader is the band officer. Yes.
And in the military, you also have band masters.
He is the band officer. So these are drum majors. We have the band. The band masters normally are behind the band. So those marching now with the maize are the drum majors, and they display with the maize. And then we have the band masters. They are normally behind the band as they march. So maybe when they come around, so these are drum majors, and they are led by the senior most drum major, who is in the person of Chief Petty Officer Class 1. Sorry. Chief Petty Officer Class 1, Tay Ayite James. He is the most senior drum major. So we have the drum major from the Army, Staff Sergeant Abeka Edward, and Staff Sergeant Kweku Emmanuel. We have the drum major for the Navy, Leading Seaman Sani Taju Emmanuel, and Flight Sergeant Blackson Ebenezer from the Air Force. And they are all drum majors. a while ago, the band had displayed a stool, and we know the significance of stool in the Ghanaian culture. Stool is a mark of authority and royalty. In Asante Kingdom, we are all aware of the golden stool, and as a nation, we have the presidential stool. And so, the band a while ago demonstrated stool. They displayed the stool.
So they are not just marching, but they are marching to communicate. They are marching to send different messages at different times. And a short while ago, Commander just indicated that the ship we saw was that of a stool. And there's Asante himself who occupies a stool. And we know the significance of a stool in the Ashanti Kingdom. The stool actually reflects the spirit of Ashanti.
That is true. All chiefs have a storeroom where stools of the past chiefs are kept, and you have to do your work very well and with distinction before your stool will be preserved. Otherwise, it will be left white and it will not be blackened. The blackened stools are the most prestigious of all the stools. So this is a trophy for every chief who lives honorably.
All right, so it wasn't by accident that we saw the military do that for us, especially as we are in the Ashanti region.
And so that was the drum majors displaying with their maize. And that is a mark of authority as far as they are also concerned. And that is the most senior drum major, Chief Petty Officer Aite. And let me quickly add that the band masters, we have Chief Petty Officer Class 1 Quest Love from the Ghana Navy. We also have Warrant Officer Class 1 Dale Leonidas from the Ghana Armed Forces Central Band. Warrant Officer Class 1 Anna George from the Army Band. And that is the band officer, Lieutenant Brock. We also have Chief Petty Officer Class 1 Boachi Emmanuel from the Ghana Navy. And the Ghana Air Force, we have Warrant Officer Class 2 Mayedeng John. And the police, we have Inspector Boating Nicholas. The band has put up another display, and this time it is unity. In unity is strength, and as a people we need to work together as one.
Currently you are seeing the crowd of people, and there's the Vice President and his wife waving the flag of Ghana, but the band has formed a shape signifying unity at this point in time. The unity of Ghana as exemplified by the attendance here, as exemplified by the pictures you're seeing on your screens at the moment. People from different backgrounds, culturally, religiously, ethnically, social status wise, everyone is here, and the purpose is Ghana. The love of Ghana, 63rd anniversary of Ghana's independence it is.
Let me quickly add that the drum majors for the police are Sergeant Ada Daniel and Corporal Ampoma Matilda.
And that was the police band. We will now have the march pass by the other security agencies. The band having displayed what they are made of and having sent out messages both verbally through their songs and also through the shapes they made whilst marching very significant messages there. Soon we'll find the other troops join them as they march past and pay respect to the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, His Excellency President Kufu-Addo. That will be done very shortly.
Yes, so the mass band will move to take its proper position so that it can allow the other contingents to march on parade. And so that's what they are doing now. They are moving to the rear of the parade so that the other contingent can come and march past.
So the other contingents will come and march past. But again, Silicon, I just want us to go back to the numbers. We saw a very huge crowd in Tamale, and it looks like we've stepped it even higher, up even higher, as we see here in Kumasi that the 40,000 capacity stadium has been filled up to capacity, and that even the parking spaces outside the stadium have all been taken up, and then also all those who are selling and people walking around, the place is so filled up that there are no spaces. I know you love crowds. What is the kind of crowd you expected? This is beautiful, Silicon. The other contingents now taking their turns to march. They're about to take their turns to march, the other contingents. And a while ago, I just saw a picture. I wish that we had stayed on it a while longer, where I saw a man wearing smock, another wearing kente, and right beside the one wearing kente was a man in agbada. Three different cultures in one picture. Pictures speak much louder than words. Ashanti region is home to a variety of people. The Ashanti histories, their history, and you find that they have interacted with many people from different backgrounds. You agree with me?
Yeah, very much. We have the city of Kumasi and towns inserted in the city. So we have the Angloga, which is bigger than Angloga in Volta region. In Kumasi, we have Fanti New Town, which is also bigger in terms of size compared to Mankesim in the central region. We have Dagomba town, we have the Mosizongo, we have all these people, and not just that, they have their chiefs who have position in the chieftaincy system in the Ashanti kingdom, so that the Angloga chief is within the Jasi division, and then we have the Fanti chief on the right wing chief, that is Nifa division. So we have all these people and their positions within the kingdom, so that they don't find themselves wanting. Everybody is seen as an Ashanti. The Ashanti is not the language. It is everybody who lives here.
Wow, interesting. I knew about the Gumba line. I know about Angloga in Kumasi. I know about Zongo and so on. But it's interesting to find out that these groups of people actually have seats in the Ashanti kingdom and the structure of the chieftaincy in Ashanti.
So they don't see themselves as strangers. They all belong to it, and they have their chiefs who move closer to the king more than even an ordinary Ashanti would move closer to the king.
The contingents have just started marching at the moment. These are men from the Ghana Army, I believe.
Yes, that's the Ghana Army now. Then we have the Ghana Navy.
And this is slow march.
Yes.
So at what point do you do slow march? And when does the slow march translate into a quick march? We've seen that a number of times, Commander Veronica. The last time we saw they started slow march, and before we knew it, the tune had changed and the steps had changed. They had started moving very quickly. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, we have different types of steps. We have the slow march, we have the quick march, and we even have some which is much faster than the quick march. Those ones are normally used within our training institution. I believe we just start slowly and we warm up to the quick march. So there's no specific time to say this is the time for you to do slow march and that time you do quick march. On every parade, we try to display both, that we can walk slowly, we can walk majestically, and we can also walk very quickly when the need arises. So every parade, we try to have these two, slow and a quick time. And so now the contingent are marching onto the, after which only the Ghana Armed Forces will march past in slow time, and then the others will join in the quick time. And that's a color party in our shot a while ago, and colors are very, very important in the military. Colors have a long-standing history where men tied either their cloth or a piece of material on a pole to depict their location. And as militaries were formed, colors started evolving. And so on the battlefield, you always had your colors at a particular location, such that in the noise of the battle, it is raised aloft so that wherever you are, you can see it. Even as you fight, you make the effort to get to where your colors are. And once the colors were taken over by the enemy, you lost the battle and you became prisoners of war or slaves. And so colors have been protected since time immemorial. And that's the parade commander.
Right, so now let's listen to the parade commander.
Captain Edu Jemfi.
Promote the movement of people and goods and improve the trade prospect between our countries. As I close, I recall that on the last occasion I had the privilege to visit Ghana in 2016. I took the opportunity to visit Elmina Castle, which was used as a facility for the holding and shipping of slaves from Africa to the Americas. This movement of persons from Africa into the Americas brought with it a deep reservoir of culture and traditions, which continue to enrich and sustain us for centuries after our arrival in that part of the world. Trinidad and Tobago, as the first country in the world to declare a national holiday to commemorate the abolition of slavery, pays homage to the contribution, resilience of those persons in its annual Emancipation Day celebration, which have been attended by former presidents of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Flight Lieutenant Jerry Rawlings and His Excellency John Agepum Kufuor. In the same way that Ghana has been present in Trinidad and Tobago as we celebrate our Emancipation Day, I am happy to return to Africa and to Ghana to celebrate your Independence Day with you. As we in Trinidad and Tobago celebrate with you today the 63rd Independence Day of the Republic of Ghana, I hold out to you the best wishes of the government and people of Trinidad and Tobago for peace, progress and prosperity of the government and people of the Republic of Ghana. Happy independence to the people of Ghana from the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We shall have a poetry recital and drama appellation by the Garrison Basic School.
And Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the school to perform the drum appellation and poetry recital is Garrison Basic School from 4 Garrison Education Center, 4BN in the Kumasi Metropolis. The appellation was written by the head teacher, Mr. Isaac Osei-Kofo, and this is done to usher in very important personalities to rise and address their people. In this case, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is respectfully invited to step forward to deliver his independence address to the nation.
Ghana ene osani kokro be pia ma Ghana my pudio no ma nyina bochi abepie santima mu onyankopon Allah nyankopon se chi adama enu ama mfashe kesie edin mpenye ewo omayi mu na ama atwehye nyina se obebo wanya bedu nufutabra ba Ghana ma nyina no manoi onyame anoa ama ben ahia bi hu ye bo mrane aneso na pataw onua na ho brasere na butirenti wajina nkonson atutuo mprenu ama atuduro sai na ne impresa so na awoto no ekumado ma bebre emodo ma pempem so e ma wona ho papetu da na ho wono no wo bemem wo yo chiman de sekan etina kan yesunsun kuta te se kuta de ne wonyire wonsem na sunfiri wonsada wa wotase obuoni ni die do boa te sese bi koko kracha wo boa ne krata na akwaja base bo wa pia foda ase wa onyamya dumunim denti wasua mra guwidim amane emrani fonkare hunu wa o chaw prise engukra kubatia se kase agemrani apapa mu a yenya bio efise o fanye dade o fanye dua o fanye nsuo o fanye honhom nipa ne sebi abode epi nso usisio masana mahamo itida wo odi chenya nsabonso amampani fufuro suro omuhunu se ho popoya okote omampani tuja ampowe Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Your Excellency, Addo one day state one factory, Addo one village one dam, Addo ambulance papebi amampani a teacher for a nurse for enyuma hodo ekuni aniti ni na adanwo ukura umudi emu tisabra kosia wotima tisenya kopasa chire free SHS papa moniyo nana moniyo wate nana moniyo efise wama ya nanka yensem fata yanga sebita frache ewe nim ni ewe chia nani dazo bien free woma akwachancha amati sayai nanka yesu yedei ni akontra so sukuni mubi ana yeuze yejina honi ana wazio ana yeuze yakotoa wate ni ana wase wasia brefuo wama brefo ko majuo kuna fohine kunune nasenne oma kuna fohinza ko manodia nani esi anisemu yo wate nana what do we say? Yeah, and Uncle do Beshakro, or true step and yeah, and Uncle but true step about it. Santimaja continuously, or 248 to Tosumunu. Your board, your boy, Moise. Nana, get to Pobian Wate, Madame Moise.
On your group, Chediam. Set a corporate oh, rip and tamper, my do sad. Young, you want them.
Were taken through rehearsals by Mr. Dapa Moses, Mr. Antonio Poku, and Mr. Oshu Eric, all teachers of Garrison Basic Schools. And this was done under careful supervision of Mrs. Joyce Afrenuama, Director for Cultural Education Programs, Ghana Education Service. May I respectfully invite the President to deliver his 63rd Independence Anniversary speech. Mr. President.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the climax of today's Independence Anniversary Parade, which is the anniversary speech by the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. With a round of applause, join me welcome Mr. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for the 63rd Independence Anniversary speech. Mr. President.
Eminent clergy, Your Excellency, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, our esteemed guest of honor and your spouse, First Lady, Vice President and Second Lady, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Chief Justice and spouse, Chairperson and members of the Council of State, Your Excellency, the Second President of the Fourth Republic, former Second Lady, Otumfuo Asantehene, dignitaries of the Ghanaian and Trinidadian states, the Chief of Defense Staff of the Ghana Armed Forces, the Inspector General of the Police Force, commanders, officers, men, women of the security services, Nananum and traditional rulers, members of the diplomatic corps, fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. It was 63 years ago today that our forefathers' dream of independence for our nation became a reality. Ghana became an independent nation and gained her freedom from the colonial power, Britain. The celebrated calypso singer of the time, Lord Kitchener, put it into what became a famous hit. This day will never be forgotten, the 6th of March, 1957, when the Gold Coast successfully got their independence officially. Ghana is the name. Ghana we wish to proclaim. We will be jolly, merry and gay the 6th of March, Independence Day. Today, as we mark this sacred day on our calendar, it is worth noting that the great majority of our population was born after 6th March 1957. They identified that day only through old black and white newsreels, and it might be difficult for them to imagine the sheer euphoria and magic of that day. Last year, for the first time, we took the official celebrations out of the national capital city of Accra to Tamale, capital of the northern region, and a huge success it was. This year, we are gathered here in Kumasi, capital of the Ashanti region, as the focal point of the official celebrations. The happiness of the day is not meant to be limited to the place of the official celebrations. This is a day that should be celebrated by all around the country and by all Ghanaians and friends of Ghana, wherever they are. Indeed, on that day of 6 March 1957, the celebrations were not limited to the new country, Ghana, or to Ghanaians alone. The rest of the world joined to celebrate with us. We were the trailblazers for the independence movement of the continent. We held out hope for restored dignity to the black race around the world. African Americans and the peoples of the Caribbean especially walked tall and cheered us on. It was not accidental that the Trinidadian, Lord Kitchener, composed the defining song of the event. We're carrying on that relationship, born 63 years ago, by having as our esteemed guest of honor at these celebrations the Prime Minister of the Government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, MP, one of the great figures of modern Caribbean politics, who has given us such a superb speech of commendation and encouragement. Prime Minister and Mrs. Sharon Clark Rowley and members of the Trinidadian delegation, we wish you a warm Ghanaian welcome, a big Akwaba, on your second visit to our country. And we know that you are at home and among your own in your beautiful kente cloths. It is a matter of great joy to us that last year we had such enthusiastic support for the year of return from the Caribbean and the Americas. The Prime Minister of Barbados, the Admirable Honorable Mia Motley QC MP, was also with us last year, and she accompanied me to Yendi to witness the historic performance of the age-old Damba Festival by a new Yana, the first in many, many years, to mark the end of decades of hostility in one of the ancient kingdoms of our land. Prime Minister, we are here in Kumasi in the presence of the Asantehene, scion of the famous Osei Poku Oyoko royal dynasty, Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. There is one thing that any visitor here can be certain of. It is the cultural capital of our country. Kumasi welcomes people from all parts and makes them feel like they belong. It was also the capital of one of the greatest kingdoms of pre-colonial Africa, Asante, whose luster was comparable to that of the kingdoms of Benin, Oyo, Mali, Songhai, Congo, Mutapa, and Zulu. So we are indeed in historic premises and are grateful for the attendance of the mighty Asantehene and the other noble traditional rulers. Fellow Ghanaians, we remember today, as we should, those whose vision inspired the independence movement. We pay homage today, as we should, to those who dare to dream of this kaleidoscope nation made up of different peoples. And we give praise, as we should, to those who made huge sacrifices to make possible March 6, 1957. To the members of the Aborigines Rights Protection Society, who protected our lands from the grasp of the greedy imperialists. The members of the United Gold Coast Convention, who first sounded the clarion call for freedom. The members of the Convention People's Party, who brought the battle for freedom to a successful conclusion. And all those who took the fight to the colonialists. We recall with pride and salute the memories of Yasantua, Jacob Say, John Mensah Saba, Joseph Casely Hayford, George Moore, R.S. Wood, Thomas Hutton Mills, Kwabena Sechi, James Kwegyir Aggrey, Ni Kwabena Boni III, Ephraim Amu, George Alfred Grant, Joseph Wachi Dankwa, Francis Awono Williams, R.S. Blake, J.W. de Graaf Johnson, Emmanuel Obecha Bilante, Edward Akufo-Addo, William Oforiatta, Ebenezer Akwaje, Kwame Nkrumah, Kwabena Kese, V.B. Annan, Jimmy Kwestase, Kamla Agbeli Gbedema, Kojobo Tsio, Kofi Bakon, Krobo Edusei, Nancy Tibo, Mumuni Bawumia, S.D. Domo, Kofi Abrefa Busia, Joe Apia, Victor Owusu, R.R. Amponsa, Bafo Seakoto, Modesto Apalu, S.G. Anto, Akua Shosho, and Dede Sikisan, and many others. Since we gained our independence, we've had difficulties and stumbled in the search to reach our potential. But Ghana has never lost her position as the inspirational leading light of the African continent. At 63, we know that we have squandered many opportunities that properly utilized would have brought us to the economic breakthrough to which we aspire. We lament, and rightly so, the infrastructure deficits that plague all sectors of our lives, and the considerable number of our people who still live in poverty. But if truth be told, we have solid reason to rejoice and be thankful to the Almighty, for this is a blessed nation. It is a good thing that we are usually so very hard on ourselves, and the critical voices sometimes drown out everything else. For as long as we have not achieved our economic goals, we cannot and should not relax and be complacent. However, we should learn to count our many blessings and not talk ourselves down unnecessarily. It surely must count for something that our nation has been spared the ravages of civil war that have racked some of our neighbors and other nations on the continent. It must count for something that we have been spared the epidemics that have brought havoc to other nations in our neighborhood. It certainly must count for something that we've been able to keep our terrorist activities from our country, and we can take for granted the peace and stability that define Ghana. Our politics might not always be the most edifying, but they are demanding and loud, and all citizens cherish the right to freedom of expression. We are into the 28th year of this Fourth Republic, the longest uninterrupted period of stable constitutional governance in our history. We've had regular, hard-fought elections and peaceful changes of administrations, and managed to avoid any third-term maneuvers. That is something for which we should applaud ourselves. We should never forget that development through the democratic process, the path we have chosen in this Fourth Republic, is not exactly the easiest governance option. Many of the countries that have made miraculous economic transformations did so more often than not through authoritarian regimes. In earlier times, several of the developed economies built their successes on the back of slavery and work practices that would not be tolerated in any democracy today. Some may admire the results of razing down whole villages and new structures appearing in weeks. But we have to ask ourselves, how much regimentation needed for such things would be tolerated by the Ghanaian psyche? Or dare I ask, where would we fit in our weekend funerals to be able to put in 7-day weeks? We should be proud of the liberal democratic path we are treading and unite to make it work. We could and should be able to bring out our people out of poverty and into prosperity faster. But let us acknowledge that good things are happening in our country and we are making progress. 19% of our people do not have access to potable water, but 81% of people in Ghana presently have access to safe water. We are making progress. The supply of electricity has reached 85% of the country. We are making progress. No child has died from measles in the past 17 years in Ghana. Fellow Ghanaians, in our country, measles used to be the leading killer of children aged under 5. We are making progress. No longer do mothers have to sell off their most treasured fabrics and jewelry, and fathers go to money lenders to be able to see their children through senior high school. Today, senior high school education is free for every child. We are making progress. There are more children in secondary school now, especially young girls, than we have ever had. We're changing the curricula and focus in education to meet the needs of the modern economy and prepare our young people to compete on the global scale. We are making progress. More and more people are embracing the need to preserve the beauty of our environment and the purity of our waters and oceans. We are making progress. Some 25 years ago, only a few wealthy people carried mobile telephones. It was a status symbol, and it gave them access to opportunities that few could dream of. In the year 2000, there were 90,000 mobile phone subscribers. In 2020, there are 41 million subscriptions. Mobile subscriber penetration is bigger than the population. We are making progress. The digital revolution is changing the face of our society and our country, and soon we will take a deserved place as a modern economy. We are making progress. The creative arts are thriving, and there are exciting things to interest a wide range of people. The fashion scene is vibrant and unearths new talent every day. Take a look around this stadium and feast your eyes on the riot of colors and the wide variety of styles that our kente weavers can conjure. Every day, this ancient, royal, eye-catching, beautiful fabric is reinvented to win over new generations. The kente, of course, has crossed over our boundaries and is no longer exclusively Ghanaian, but the symbol of identity for peoples of African descent everywhere. Our designers, tailors, and dressmakers keep Ghanaian-made clothes in the top range of attractive clothes. Art galleries are alive with established and new painters and sculptors, and there are signs of their innovative works all around us. We have always been known for musical talent, and this generation is keeping up the tradition. Fellow Ghanaians, there's renewed confidence in our foods and a strong belief in the things that define us as Ghanaians. We have always been known for arguments and debates, and in an election year, it is predictable that the decibel level would go up. That is what we're currently experiencing. But as the saying goes, even as the arguments get louder, we keep a keen lookout for each other's eyes. There is an account proverb that says, Omeniku, ye kwa, ye kikanriso, ye ntuasie. When we fight as members of a community or family, we bite off hair, we do not uproot it. In other words, in our gravest moments of fury, we strive to avoid bloodshed. The consensus is holding for all of us to work towards the prosperous, peaceful, and happy Ghana we want. We all recognize that that the responsibility we carry as the first Saharan colonial country to gain independence is not simply to build a successful country. We owe it to the rest of the continent and the black race to demonstrate that indeed we can build and run a successful, prosperous, and happy country. This is a task we do not shirk and which all Ghanaians accept. Our Pan-African vision remains on course as we continue to be in the front line of the effort to forge a united Africa, and our peers have conferred and honored us with the duty to host the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area. We are making progress. During the course of the year of return, which we marked last year, we were glad to welcome hundreds of thousands of visitors from the African diaspora, and we're hoping that the renewed relationship between Ghanaians and our kith and kin from the Caribbean and the Americas will grow from strength to strength. The initiative of Beyond the Return is the vision of a black world on both sides of the Atlantic, which leverages hard work, enterprise, creativity, and innovation to engage in mutually beneficial trade and investment cooperation that will guarantee the prosperity and dignity of black people the world over. I must say something before I conclude about the subject that currently concerns the whole world, and that is the novel coronavirus outbreak. It is a medical crisis that is bringing in its wake deaths and economic difficulties, and is spreading fear and panic throughout the world. In the early days of the outbreak, I constituted on 7th February a high-powered emergency response team to handle the crisis, which has been monitoring developments and reporting to me on a daily basis. Strict checks at our entry points are being conducted with rigorous screening procedures. Isolation and treatment centers have been designated for potential cases, and a quarantine center has been set up. 5,000 personal protective equipments for health workers have been procured and distributed to all regions and major health facilities, points of entry, teaching hospitals, treatment centers, and selected health facilities. Additional protective health equipment is being procured. Training of health workers in the treatment of the disease is being provided and is ongoing. In the interim, non-essential travel into Ghana is being strongly discouraged from high-risk countries, namely China, Iran, Italy, Japan, and South Korea. We're counting on the experts to do their part to safeguard us, but we all have a responsibility to take measures to help ourselves and each other. The recommendations are for each one of us to practice basic personal hygiene and be extra careful with sanitation. For the time being, as the Ministry of Health has advised, we have to revisit our custom of shaking hands and stop doing so completely. And we must cover our mouths when we cough or sneeze. We should pray, of course, that the Almighty continues to shield us, but it is also the time to pay attention to the health experts and reject all fraudulent claims for cures that would only threaten public health and safety. Please listen to and take seriously the public education messages being put out by the public health authorities. And I urge the churches, mosques, traditional authorities, civil society organizations, and opinion leaders all to join in helping to keep Ghana safe. We appreciate the active collaboration being offered by us by the Global Health Authority, the World Health Organization, and by Friends of Ghana in these trying times. The government on its part is determined to do whatever is necessary, including providing the requisite resources to ensure the safety of the population. Fellow Ghanaians, we've been treated to a marvelous performance by school children and men and women from the military and the services. It took hours and weeks of practice to be able to put up such a flawless display, and I wish to congratulate them all. The lessons will not be lost on us. To you, the men and women of the military and the services who put your lives on the line to keep us and the country safe, I say Ghana is deeply in your debt. To you, the children who have been part of the captivating ceremony, I say very well done, and prepare yourself to carry the torch into a greater and brighter future. I wish all Ghanaians and friends of Ghana across the globe a joyous 63rd Independence Anniversary. And once again, Prime Minister Rowley, thank you, your wife, and your delegation for coming from Trinidad to join us to share our special day. May God bless us all and our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The Forces Sergeant Major Chief Warrant Officer Bakar Ramos is marching forward to lead the contingent to give 3 hearty cheers to the President of the Republic of Ghana and a powerful yell for Mother Ghana.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. May I please have your permission to hail the troops, Mr. President.
We remove headdress. Remove!
We have the cheers to the President of the Republic of Ghana, Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. Adopt the posture. Left foot. Pull together. Let's pull together. We shall pull together. Resume the pressure. Left foot. Let's go together with one accord.
Ghana is the star of Africa.
Let's go together with one accord.
Ghana is the star of Africa.
Ghana, let's go.
We
special one for the 241 Assembly Secretary. And so by a border, and so by a border, and so by a border, and so by a border. What's the next thing you want to say? Yes. President, over. May I please have the permission to follow, Mr. President? Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. President, straight over, may I have your permission to march off the colors and the remainder of the parade, Mr. President?
You are humbly requested to rise when the colors are passing your location, and all personnel in uniform are reminded to pay the appropriate compliments.
March of the colors. Parade. Present arms.
Calabate. By the center. Quick march. 10 decks in bright. Right. Forward.
Please be seated.
Present! Arms!
Please remain standing and stay at our positions as the President and other dignitaries depart before we leave. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to remind all that the Ghana Armed Forces Open Day activities will be held at all garrisons on Saturday, 14th March 2020. The Ghana Armed Forces wishes to invite the general public and particularly all school children to be part of this day to get to know and learn more about the Ghana Armed Forces. Permit me to acknowledge the Formation Commander of the Fly Pass, Fadoli Dadawe, and his crew, Flight Lieutenant Abuaje and Flight Lieutenant Anan, for their splendid performance. If you want to have a view of more of the Ghana Air Force, take note and visit the Air Force bases in Accra, Tamale, and Tapadi on Saturday, 14th March 2020.
And all GES staff are to take note. Students and GES staff, the Director General and Management of Ghana Education Service take this opportunity to congratulate teachers, pupils and students for their smart turnout at this year's Independence Parade. It is expected that teachers, pupils and students will take advantage of the weekend to rest and fully refresh themselves to resume academic work on Monday. Please note that Monday, 9th March 2020 is not a holiday. Signed by the Director General, Professor Christopher Mama.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Departure formalities begin right away. All drivers of our VVIPs, please bring your cars through where you came. The President of the Republic is to depart first, followed by the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and then the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana will follow, and then Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu follows.
All school contingents have moved to Ahmadiyya Senior High School. All school contingents, the 13 school contingents have been moved to Ahmadiyya Senior High School right now. Thank you.
And as we end this year's 63rd Independence Anniversary celebration, we want to show appreciation to the following companies and organizations that supported our anniversary this year: Guinness Ghana Limited, Star Life, Baltic Mineral Water, the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, Global Media Alliance, Verna Water, MTN, Casapreco Awake Water, Casben, Utek FM, Ash FM, Angel FM, Planting for Food and Jobs, Loud Make Sound, Wontumi Radio and TV, as well as the National Youth Authority. Departing now is the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, and First Lady Rebecca Akufo-Addo.
The Vice President is the next to depart, and then the President, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, our special guest. All drivers of the VVIPs, please follow in that order as you came. All drivers of the VVIPs, please follow in the order you came. Well, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago is about to leave.
All for you, all for you, it all for you. I dey wait you, Papa. I dey wait you, Mommy. I dey wait you, Papa. Ooh. All for you, it all for you, it all for you, all for you, all for you.